And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you today by the good guys at the 6 Minute Webinar. And I'm joined today by our co-host here, or our little host. She's our social media expert, Michaela Vidal. Michaela, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing real good. So glad you're here with us today. And we're going to have a very exciting guest here. We had Lars, excuse me, Rain Gustafsson on our radio show this past Friday. We've had him on before, and his talk was so dynamic. I knew that we had to invite him to the TV show, especially with the title that we got this week, as you can see, Living Positive in a Negative World. And sometimes that's kind of like pushing a chain uphill. And my good friend, Mr. Bill Heinrich, he's the author of The 7 Levels of Truth. You can find that book on Amazon. I highly recommend, and I endorse that book, even though when you buy it, I don't receive anything, nor would I want to, because Bill is a friend. But The 7 Levels of Truth, Bill talks about living from your heart and letting everything else go. Because there's really only 2 emotions. There's either fear or there's love. Everything else falls in one of those 2 categories. And when we're born in life, Michaela, we're born in a world of survival. That's the basic thing that we're born in. You know, we need this. We need food. And you've got some kids, as I understand. And kids think they need everything, don't they?
Everything they see.
Oh, yeah. And that comes from just the way our nature is when we're born in this world. But Lars is going to take that up to a new standard about how to get, let go of all the detachments. Because, Michaela, everything that you treasure is in your heart.
Right.
And I heard a preacher say this one time, and it's kind of like a wake-up call. At least it was for me. He said that Satan would only tempt you with what you treasure in your heart. Whoa. When you think about that, that's a wake-up call, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. And Michaela, being a young mom like you and your husband, Ruben, raising kids trying to be positive and trying to have the right outlook on life in this negative world, that's a bit of a chore, isn't it?
It is, especially since every day brings new problems and new issues. And things that you didn't even have to deal with when you were growing up. So trying to figure out what's the right and wrong way of going about things.
Oh, yeah. Well, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, we've yacked enough here. Let's bring Lars to the stage here and get ready, because before this show's over, you're going to be throwing some stuff out the window, getting rid of your detachments. Lars, how you doing, my man? Welcome.
It's wonderful to be here, Michaela. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. It's an honor.
Oh, you're quite welcome. And Lars is going to be with us tomorrow as well, because this is a 1-2 part, and you don't want to miss it because of the value that he brings. And we're going to be downloading the show from the studio tonight, uploading it to YouTube. So you can find all of our shows on YouTube at Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. And Lars, today you're going to be talking to us. Share with us a little bit about yourself. Number one, how you became from where you were to where you are. You got an interesting background. Share that with us, sir.
Yeah, we all have interesting backgrounds. We all have wonderful, wonderful childhoods. I just happen to have been conceived in Nepal and born in an interior village of Orissa, India. And so I was raised by tribals and grew up with a tribal archetype. And I was just commenting to Michaela that I've had many archetypes in my life and let go of all of them. So yes, life is fascinating and life is a gift. We learn a lot over the course of our lives. We learn about attachment and we learn about detachment. The day that we learn about detachment, which is today for all of our audience, can either be a butterfly day, a bifurcation, a moment of complete transformation, or it can be just a passerby. It depends on how seriously you do take this. Because if you don't, attachment takes you very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Sometimes when you're attached to something, you just can't let go and you become a slave to it. That can be a physical thing. It can be a non-physical thing. It doesn't matter. It just depends on, what your craving is in your heart. That's what it's about.
And it enslaves your mind too. It takes control.
Indeed. Our conscious mind can only deal with a couple bits of data per second. Our unconscious mind can take in 20 million bits of data per second. So over the course of our lives, we are accumulating an enormous amount of belief. And then we act out on those beliefs. We have emotions based on those beliefs. We have desires based on those beliefs. So one of the statements that has come out through my detachment course is the ultimate insanity in a relationship is to live up to someone else's expectations, which are based on beliefs that are not theirs.
Yeah.
We do not realize how much our belief actually pervades every aspect of our life. And today, let's unpack that. It'll be fun. There are 3 very important areas of attachment that we will address today. One of them is the crisis of love. Another is health. And another is prosperity. A new definition for all 3 of those comes when we are living with a peaceful heart. And you're right, Jim. Right at the very core, the attachments that get us the most are the ones that we feel are coming from our heart. The ones that are pure, the ones that are beyond all definition, those of unconditional love, like Michaela's 6 daughters. And husband, and there's a love there. There's a connection, a very, very deep connection. That aspect, and then surrounding that are all of the archetypes of Michaela being mom, Jim. We're all carrying different forms of definitions of ourselves, and then we go about our day, mostly unconsciously. Actually, 70 to 90% of our thoughts in the day are the same ones we thought the day before. And so as we continue on in our life, we think very repetitive thoughts and therefore have very repetitive actions. And so part of what we'll unpack today are some new types of rituals that you can put into your day that unlock, that unhook you from the deep ruts that are in our consciousness. And that is exactly what they are. They are deep ruts. They are ruts in terms of how we respond to others. You were talking about positive and negative. Positive and love. So love and then fear.
Right.
And then the sway between those is emotion. And that sway can, when we're talking about it from the spirit perspective, our soul is equanimous, is in pure state of equanimity, is in the middle. Our human and all of our beliefs that we accumulate over the course of our lives sways every day between positive and negative. When you start to practice detachment, you really do unhook, and we'll define it here in a few minutes for everyone. When you really do unhook from those things, you'll actually find that the sway becomes a lot less. Less. And then eventually you arrive at a point of no reaction. And for those who are perhaps used to a reaction, why are you not getting totally riled up about this?
Why aren't you getting mad like the rest of us? What's wrong with you?
No, actually, I'm not letting that in. I'm not letting it into me. So
I feel like we live in a world where it's so normal. Like if if people like to have a reaction, and if someone doesn't have a reaction, everyone's looking at you like, what's wrong? Like,
Yeah.
are they normal?
It's like I was explaining when I came back from Vietnam. I was really in 1970. I was kind of lost in many ways, and I remember, I don't know how this came about, to be honest with you, but I remember thinking, I'm struggling with the big three inside: who I am, who I think I am, and who my family and friends think that I am,
Mm.
and how they're expecting me to act when all I'm trying to do is find myself.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did not have the 100-day countdown when I left Vietnam. I had actually extended my stay there. And what happened, I went down to Cu Chi, and I went and see the medical doctor, and I had a jungle run on my feet. And he said, "Son, you need to get out of here." He says, when you're going to DROS, that's the departure of the Republic of South Vietnam. And I said, "Well, I just extended." He said, "Well, son, you just unextended." He says, "I'm going to medically revoke your extension." And me being an E4 and kind of young and dumb, I looked at him. I said, "Sir, can you do that?" And he was an old country boy. He said, "Son, you see this full bird on my collar? You better believe I can do it." You know? And within about 10 days, I'm home. So therefore, I didn't get the chance to do that mental wind down. And of course, no one told us anything, and I was too young and dumb to know it. But that's an important part, to mentally prepare yourself for coming home. It's just like getting in the elevator, and then open up the doors, and boom, there you are. And it's a horrible feeling to. And I don't want to say a horrible feeling, but it's not anything that I want to go back and do again, as far as experiencing that emotional roller coaster I was on.
Mm.
But it makes you a stronger person. And if I'd have known then, if Bill Heinrich says all you got to do is just, no matter what's eating you up, just let it go. Just have love in your heart for yourself, because the abundance of love that you tap into in the universe, it's like the sunshine. It's just there. It's just in abundance.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing that we have that wisdom now, and the things that we should be hearing now about, look at all the wonderful information that kids. I mean, no one is teaching any of our youth about the importance of love. Love yourself, love others.
Yes.
That's the foundation of life.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We're social creatures. Yeah,
That's
we're
where it
all
all
social.
starts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, love is love, and the self-referential reality that results from love.
Yes.
Self,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and to teach kids and to even ourselves embody what that really means, a self-referential reality.
Mm-hmm.
We're referencing our emotions based on external factors, on external people,
exactly.
and events, and so forth.
Yeah.
And wisdom does not lie there.
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom lies
Amen.
in your soul, in your heart, in the infinity of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Your soul.
Yeah.
One of the things in the detachment meditation, which we're going to offer everyone here, it's available through my site. It finishes off with, I suspend all belief and align myself with the infinite wisdom of my soul.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine that. Imagine doing that 3, 4, 5 times a day.
Wow.
Suspend all belief and align myself with the infinite wisdom of my soul. Because we cannot create a reality in our future based on the mistakes of the past and based on the beliefs of the past. We
That's
literally
right.
have to suspend all belief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what
Yeah.
emerges are the magical realms. Wonderful synchronicities, hypersynchronicities, wonderful magic that emerges from kids, from family members, from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes some getting used to, especially
yeah.
in the relationship realm,
Mm-hmm.
when you start to detach. So let's unpack that. How about that? Let's
Okay.
unpack the
Get
whole
into
thing.
Yeah.
Detachment sounds so rough. I know when I first heard it, it was like, oh man, I'm going to lose all my friends. I'm going to lose everything. I don't want to detach. I was like, no, I don't want to do this. And it was more thoroughly unpacked. That was way back in 2002.
Mhm.
And so what by definition is happening is this. When you interact with a loved one, a friend, or even here as you're watching this, it's going into your consciousness and it's forming a psychic cord with the three of us. So those of you watching, you're forming a psychic cord with us. And you're forming that with every person, place, time, thing, and everything in your life. You form these cords. And so as we move forward, it's like carrying a duffel bag full of like vibe and energy that essentially has just been corded into you, has been connected to you over the course of an entire lifetime. So when you practice this for the very first time, I enjoy calling on the archangels of the four directions. Their power is so limitless, so infinite, so unconditionally loving that they can, upon request, instantly unhook you from all attachments and cords instantly. The rest of it is our human interacting and doing the commands. So we then proceed to call back every thought that we've ever thought. When's the last time you guys have ever done that? I call back all my thoughts. I call back all my thoughts and I convert them into love. Imagine what our world would be like, because we know we can send healing energy to people. Know that therefore, if we can send healing energy, we can also send the opposite. For those of you who are worrying about things or worrying about this person did this and that person did that, and then we see the atrocities and the different things that are going on in the world. It is when we observe that we're actually engaging with it, and we're engaging with it outside of our unconditional loving form.
Yeah.
And that's how we create that strife.
Yeah. When you were saying that, what popped in my mind was the people who love to gossip. Oh man. I mean, think about all the damage they've done, especially when they add to it and make it more juicier than it really was. I mean, goodness. I mean, I was right before I was in the service, and I came home on leave and went to a party, and a friend of mine had a little bit too much to drink. So one of my friends, I told her, I said, you drive my car, I'll put him in his car, and I'll drive him home, which we did. And I parked the car in the driveway, shut it off, got out, got in my car, and left. Well, obviously the parents came out there and, who drove up and saw their kids sitting there in the car and got him out. Well, the next day I go over there and, to see them or see him, and he introduces me as somebody else. And I kind of like, what's going on with this? And his mother says, well, I'm glad you're going out with this young man. He looks like a nice young man. I'm glad you're not going out with that Jim Grant. He's awful. What did you tell her?
That is so funny.
And all I did was a good Samaritan deal. But, it's, I guess I had to be blamed for something, so that's,
That is a delightful story.
But it goes to show you how you can build truth around something that isn't true, and it can fester up. And, it's bad when you think about, labeling someone like that, because I've shared this before, Michaela, on the show. How many times have you thought about somebody and you form an opinion and you're kind of reserved from that person because of what you perceive to be true?
Yes.
Then you find out the Paul Harvey side of the story, as the old saying goes, what they were going through, and you go like, oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Yes.
And that's when you look up to the sky and you say, thank you, sweet Jesus. I didn't open my big mouth and say something stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's where those gossipers come in, and they just throw, they just throw a bucket of mud right into the pie,
Yes, I'm delighted you brought up gossiping. and
Who you want to
how
talk
we
about?
hold others in the image of others.
Oh my gosh.
Because every word that we think, every
Mm-hmm.
word that we speak is a spell.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we describe someone to another person, it's kind of like in the story that you brought up about your friend,
Mm-hmm.
he pictured you in a way that his mom was like, awesome, this is an amazing friend. And then the former version, Jim, was not so amazing. So that's why he didn't bring that up.
Yeah.
So, we have that. And if we draw that into our lives and we start to contemplate everybody in our life,
Right.
a wonderful
Right.
piece of homework for everybody after this call is write down all the names of the people who are closest to you and those who are not. And then just get the vibe for how you think about them. Because again, the ultimate insanity is living up to other people's expectations of us based on beliefs that are not theirs.
Wow.
And so if you're doing it and we're doing it, they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has to stop it.
Yeah.
Right.
And really, really connect to people. And that's one of the beautiful things about detachment that I discovered back in 2002. As soon as you start unhooking and you start detaching, you are unhooking and untethering from all of their energy. And then you're recalling your energy. That is the fullness and the richness of who you are. And that presence is what you bring to your loved ones. They get to experience the richer version of you, the real, true version of you. Science has shown us that we have a field of energy that's generated by our heart. It's a magnetic field that looks like a toroid or like a donut.
Yeah.
And when we're in a place of love, it actually extends out 16, 20 feet.
Oh, yeah.
When we're in the state
yeah.
of judgment or fear, it comes all the way down close to our body.
Yeah.
It's directly correlated to states of disease, demineralization, lack of nutrients. And so when we detach and we call all our power back, that field expands. And at an unconscious level, they can actually pick up on that. Scientists have actually figured that out, that you can have two people in each other's presence, one in a state of stress, one in no stress. Depending on who gives their power away, will be the one that wins in terms of the energy effect.
Yeah.
So the person who's not in stress, if they are a kind, loving, amazing person who really wants this person to be out of stress, they might start to empathize with that person. And they might start to allow themselves to get into the energy field of that person.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting attached.
Absolutely.
And so if you find that happening, you can unhook, detach, regain your full power, come back into that power, and then that person will start to, just by being in your presence, come out of that stress and not need the false empathy. The false empathy. You do not need to empathize and therefore reduce yourself and reduce your energy and your vibration so that someone else can be comfortable around you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That is the aspect of selling, like giving away your power.
It's kind of like that saying where they say, the people you surround yourself with is who you become.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, I've heard that, and that's so true. Your average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with, and it's kind of like growing up. Your parents told you that you're known by the company you keep. And that did not expire when you turned 21. I'm going to be 73 in a few days, and it's still
going.
Oh my God.
Absolutely, yeah. And I want to get back to something you said earlier, because whenever you love yourself, the very first thing you do is forgive yourself. And I heard a lady was mentioning about, how can I love myself and forgive myself for the bad things that I've done, because I'm reminded of it all the time. And I went on a little bit of a limb and I said, well, who's reminding you of it? I said, chances are it might be the evil dark force reminding you, and that's okay. Just say, hey, I forgive myself. I've been forgiven. My future looks bright. Now let's bring up your future. Guess what? He's a coward. He'll run from you.
That's right.
But as long as he can enslave you, as long as you let your mind enslave you, as long as you don't let yourself go and be free and have love in your heart, uh, you're not going to be able to live the life that you were destined to live. And I tell people, can you imagine, Lars, what a wonderful world this world would be if everyone had the heart of the family dog?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't
Maybe
even
not
have
my
to be.
dog.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Now, we're not going to talk about cats because, see, dogs live with you.
What
You
kind?
live with cats. Okay. So we're not, cats are excluded
Fine.
I
now.
like cats better.
Yeah.
Let's create an avatar of the perfect dog. Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yes, and you bring up something very interesting, and that has to do with this idea of forgiveness.
Yes. That's big.
When you detach
Easier said
and
than
you do
done.
it thoroughly enough, I recommend that the audio that you're going to receive, that you just on a nice quiet evening, you pick something that has a big charge for you, and you just keep on going through the detachment over and over again. One of the pieces in there is to expand your energy field to fill the house, fill the whole country, fill the whole universe, and just this expansion of energy. Within that expansion of light energy of who we truly are, no cords can exist. No evil can exist
Oh.
there.
Hmm.
It is the external aspect of us that hooks into aspects that cause harm, that we see as causing harm, and therefore we get hooked into that, and then we find it very difficult to actually forgive that. And so forgiveness is actually at the very core, at the very fundamental level. It actually begins with detachment. Hook, call your power back. Give, let go of all energies that are not yours.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it is we can, I know, because I grew up with the philosophies of forgiveness, and still hold them to be very dear to my heart now. However, the definition changes, and the aspect of it changes when you learn to completely let go. It's like what Bill was saying, Bill Heinrich, your friend, so beautifully and so eloquently. Just let it go and sink into the lovingness of your heart, and everything else dissolves away. And that's an aspect. From a forgiveness perspective, just to say I forgive you and not be detached is not forgiveness. You can't just say I forgive you and still be hooked into that, and still be angry, and still be mad, and still
That's
be
right.
and still have it unconscious, and still have it up in your cells, because our cells are recording the water in our body. We're 90% water, is recording everything.
Yeah.
We're recording 20 million bits of data per second. So for us just to verbally say I forgive, we actually have to feel it, and we actually have to see that disconnection actually happening, and let that person be. That does not absolve them of what they've done.
Yeah.
However, it gets that energy out of you.
Yeah. You just pass that hot potato on, because if you just say that and you don't mean it, you're lying to yourself. And that is a tremendous jolt of negative energy, which corrodes your strength, robs you of your health, happiness, your everything.
Indeed.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
just.
Absolutely.
And before the show, Michaela was telling me earlier today, she says, I'm really really glad to be there. I just can't wait to hear all of Lars's wisdom. And Lars, you're going to be on with us again tomorrow. We're getting ready to go to commercial break. We'll be back in a few minutes, or a couple minutes, but I want Lars to share what else he's going to be sharing, not only in this show, but tomorrow's show before we go to commercial break. Would you be so kind to do that, sir?
Yes, of course. Happy to. So today we wanted to unpack relationships, and we wanted to unpack health, and how being detached actually frees your body to live in its true state of magnificence, prosperity, a new definition of that, And then tomorrow, we're going to really get into the spiritual path aspect of detachment and really unpack that. And then how that also relates to peak performance in life, peak performance in business, peak performance in all aspects of life. So,
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back right after this brief message from a very good friend of mine, Angel Marie Monticelli. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Angel Marie Monticelli with Angel Marie Shines. And I had the pleasure, the honor to go through training for the 6-minute webinar. Oh my gosh, this webinar and how it's structured and how they teach it. Thank you, Speakers Pathway Coalition. Thank you, Don McGrath and the whole team for the 6-minute webinar, because you made it so simple, easy. And the way you lined it out with the outline, I can reproduce it. And I'm already getting the engagement. I'm getting people that are coming back that are saying, oh, I love this webinar that's so short, so to the point. And I love your products and what I'm selling, but then what I'm also the services that I provide. And I do any of this because I have the framework. So thank you so much to the whole team, because the 6-minute webinar totally rocks. Thank you.
And welcome back. I want to give a shout out for Angel Marie Monticelli. She is a high energy lady. If you've got a event that's a virtual event or a physical event and you need to get the people up and hopping, Angel Marie Monticelli is the lady you need. She's the shine on lady. She's got a song. And I can actually tell you, we were at the event in Colorado Springs in 2019. I was the MC of the Pathway for Vets event. And she got up there and she got everybody up after lunch, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, when everybody's wanting to sit there and go into zombie mode. And I was doing pretty good keeping up with all that hand jive stuff, you know. But then I looked over at Bill Heinrich, and Bill was doing something like a cross between the Boogaloo and the Watusi. And I got the giggles and I was down. And then I thought, oh my goodness, I'm the MC. I got to follow this lady. So she is a tremendous energizer. It makes it fun, because when you make learning fun and people enjoy event, people always remember how you made them feel rather than what you say or said. And I'm so glad for that, because since my country English is not recognized in any dictionary, I just hope I can make people feel good, you know. And Lars, I tell you right now, with the information you're sharing with us, and Michaela, I know she's so thrilled to be here because she told me, I can't wait to hear this guy. And so therefore, ladies and gentlemen, let me turn the stage over to Mr. Lars. Let him take the mic and just share with us whatever you like, sir.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we're talking about detachment today, and we're talking about it within the context of health, relationships, and prosperity. And when we unpack, we've been unpacking for the last half hour, we've been unpacking the relationship side. We're not completely finished there. In the detachment course that I have, I really unpack it. But one of the pieces of homework that you can do out of the call today is to write down the various avatars that you are portraying into the world. So I am a son, I'm a coach, Kayla, you're a mother, Jim, father, all the war veteran, all the different things, all the different avatars. Write them all down. There are external ones. There are ones where you are just, maybe it's something that you're just interacting with someone at the grocery store. So you are now a customer at the grocery store. And then you go through the detachment process and you pick one and you go all the way to 0 on it. You dissolve that avatar. So for me to dissolve the avatar of son, because there's a lot built up around that avatar. What a son should do, what a good son is, what this and that. And Then you build in all the religious stuff, and then you build in all the psycho-spiritual stuff, and then you build in all of the 20 million bits of data that have hit my parents' brain for their entire life, every single second, and then it's living up to those aspects of that avatar of me being a son. See where I'm going with this?
Oh, so yeah, that's depressing. Yeah,
it's overwhelming, and it's actually the way that we live normally.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
We don't really realize that we're actually doing this. And what is the cause of unhappiness? What is the cause of strife? What is the cause of all that? It is living up to other people's expectations, which are based on beliefs that are not theirs.
Mm. I know it. You wait till I get off this show. I'm going to go give them people a piece of my mind.
So
and it all starts when kids are young. Sorry. I was going to say it all starts when kids are young. I mean, when they're in school, they see people, you know, trying to impress, whether it be the teacher, their friends. I mean, it's all taught very young.
Kind of like the training ground for that, isn't it, Michaela?
Yes.
Yeah. And you think about it, when you're used to doing something for so long, it's hard to stop that process. It's a process in itself.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So the dissolving won't happen in one sit down. It's going to take time. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, however, it's worth it, because think of the alternative. You're watching this show. For those of you who are watching, bless your heart. Thank you for being here. I am deeply honored, and I feel like we're sharing this with brothers and sisters.
Oh yeah, we're family here. Exactly.
We're family, right?
We're brothers and sisters. Mm-hmm.
So if you were given a gift like detachment, you'd want to share it, especially if you know what's on the other side. And I know what's on the other side. It takes time for those who are the closest to you to get used to the equanimous, self-referential version of you. What is that? What's the equanimous? What's equanimity? Equanimity, remember that swing between positive and negative?
Right.
Equanimity is in the middle. The equanimous, self-referential version of you is pure love. There's no definition for it. It is actually the peace that surpasses all understanding. What did Jesus mean by that?
Yeah.
Be as a child and enter the gates of heaven. What was that? What is a child? Totally in the now. What is a child?
Right.
Innocence. What is a child? Not blueprinted by society. What is a child? She is in heaven until they take on the blueprints of the parents and of TV and of other children and of school and of everything, and then grow up and become molded in the eyes of the beholder, not in their own eyes. They are not in the vision and the ultimate vision of the divine. They are in the eyes of the beholder, of the external. They are not self-referentially molded. They are externally referenced.
And it's sad. That's sad when you just say it out loud too.
Yeah, it really is. And you think about yourself, how many times, even as an adult, you go in someplace and you feel like you need to carry yourself a certain way. And, it's just amazing that it's such a subconscious reaction that it controls 100%. You like a robot.
100%. Oh, so what is slavery? What does it mean to be so wrapped up in that attached consciousness that you feel like you have no control over the external world?
Right.
That's
right.
It's not recognizing that you are the purest form of power.
Yeah.
And that's what this awakening is all about. To truly follow the spiritual path, the true depth of all spiritual and all religion is actually that self-referential version of you.
Yeah.
Everything else is just metaphor and teaching.
Yeah. When you're saying it, what comes to my mind, excuse me, Lars, when you're saying it, what comes to my mind, if a bird sees a trap being set, he had to stay away from it. But we look for ways to entrap ourselves. We really do. I mean,
and we don't even know we're doing it.
I know it. It just sneaks up on you and bites you like a snake in the grass.
So let's talk about some spells that are going on. the external spells, how we get spell cast. Because through repetition, we become that of which we contemplate most frequently, or we hear most frequently, and that we say yes to most frequently. So that's how we actually become something that we don't even know yet, but we're actually in the process of becoming that because we're saying yes to an externally referenced reality. So what is the spell of education? When we really, really look at the education, it is not built to create self-referential beings. It's built to memorize, to pass certain tests, to pass certain piece of information. But the true qualities of human nature is left up to the parents. It's left up to at home. And then we take on these spells of our education, the spells of labels and names, the spells of even spiritually cast spells like the I am movement. I am that, I am this, I am that. No, you're not. You are an infinite divine being, and you are most certainly not a tree, and most certainly not a chair, and all of those things that you hear in that whole schlemazel of a world. And I got caught up in it. So I was there. I felt the powerlessness of being in that state. You are not that. There's the divine spark within you. So this is how this moves us into the conversation about health. If you are externally referenced and your whole aspect of your consciousness is externally referenced, and you are essentially plugged into the system, you're not detached from it, you're plugged right into it. Think of all that energy being dispersed. So you're eating, you're maybe it's all organic and vegetarian, and you're eating all this really, really good food and putting all these good nutrients in. However, you're still attached. It goes right back out again. I've been in the health industry and studying it since I was at the age of 15. And I've seen thousands and thousands of people being attached, getting very sick. Your supplement will not save you. Your drug will not save you. Nothing will save you. Even going to a healer will not save you. You need to detach. You need to let go. Because you're dragging all that energy with you, all the shame, fear, guilt, anger, resentment, and it is eating away at you.
It all starts within.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. Go ahead, Michaela.
I was gonna say, I mean, as a parent, I think that's the hardest part is when you're trying to help your kids or anything like that, trying to accept that it all starts with them. You can help guide them and show them the way, or tell them how to do it, but they have to be willing to be like, okay, I'm ready. They have to be ready, basically, for them to want any kind of change.
Well said.
And a lot of times too, they got to understand the why, because you were talking about repetition and stuff. It's kind of like in what year did Columbus sell the ocean blue? 1492. Why did he sell it? I don't know. I mean, what did he got here? I don't know. But see, we get caught up in rhymes and all that. And like Michaela was saying with kids, if they understand the why that's important, what the end result in it, what's in it for them, then it becomes more, more interesting for them, I think. But also too, it bridges the gap of, this is what I'm going to tell you, and this is, you better do it, and this is that, And of course, we grew up, our moms, hey, why you want me to do that? Because I said so,
That's me.
In the subject, we're not going to go there, But, really, when you think about that, it just really, that's the way we were brought up. You never question your parents.
Yes.
Unless you were kind of slow between the ears, you might do it twice, but after the second time, you might learn, hey, I think I'm going to stay away from that arena. That's a pretty tough arena to get into there,
And we don't question authority.
Yes.
Right.
And that is something that absolutely needs to be questioned at all times. I was raised by my parents to question at all times.
Yes.
And
you can do that with respect.
And do it with respect.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Do it without emotion. If you do
Yeah.
it without emotion, that is where you're coming from your higher mind.
Mhm.
If you come at questioning from some form of blueprint that creates a charge, you're acting from your hindbrain, your fight or flight reflex.
Yeah.
And this brings us into the body. Dr. Bruce Lipton said it beautifully that our cells are eavesdropping in on our thoughts. We think around 70,000 thoughts per day. Every one of them creates hormone patterns. So our cells are turning DNA on and off all day long. When you're in stress, there's vasoconstriction that happens. 50% of your digestive system turns off so that you can fight or flee whatever it is you're stressed about.
Right.
Okay? And so what is that stress? It's a perception. It's a thought. Underneath
Yeah.
it is a belief. Underneath that is a whole world of experience and of beliefs. When we cut the cords, snip it all off, call back all our thoughts, release all that is not ours, call our soul power back, and then finally suspend all belief and align ourselves with the infinite wisdom of our soul. It disappears.
Because I like what Bill said on the radio show. You may recall this. He was talking about, we have beliefs and all that, and they're myths and all that. But he said, we find our ways, looking for ways to justify this myth because this is what we believe to be true. And you're attacking what I believe. How dare you?
Right. Exactly.
We get very defensive.
Very. It is one of the things that I learned very young, being born and growing up in a village in India. I grew up very young. To observe and to be fully immersed within culture. I didn't know any better, actually. I was just immersed in it. That was my first language I ever spoke, was the tribal language. Where I found the issue was when I came to Canada with an East Indian accent.
Them French Canadians.
I can still riff a good East Indian accent, I'm telling you.
Well, let's hear it. Come on, lay it on.
I can riff a good accent. I'll let it come out when it wants to come out.
Okay.
So our thoughts, we think 70,000 thoughts a day. Our cells are eavesdropping in on our thoughts. Okay. One of the pieces of homework that I got my clients to do many years ago, 20 years ago, was to take a notepad with you and write down what percentage, just to make a note at the end of the day, what percentage of the day you were in stress and what percentage of the day you were not in stress. Think about it. When you're in stress, digestive system shuts down, your body goes into a constrictive mode, immune system shuts down, and you are in a vulnerable place. You're supposed to be fleeing or fighting whatever it is you were stressed about, because we were created to run away from tigers, but there's no tiger there. It's just something that we're stressed about.
Right.
And then our cells, we might be eating perfectly healthy food, but you're stressed. The digestive system is shut down. You can have a leaky gut. You can have all sorts of things going on.
Oh, yeah.
And magnesium gets depleted. Magnesium is responsible for over 300 enzyme functions in every cell of the body. Boom. Instantly,
Wow.
it literally, cortisol flushes magnesium out. So what does that do? Boom. The next day, you are now in a lower metabolism, lower capacity to be able to handle life. And it was just because you got stressed on, you were late to an appointment or something the day before. So that's where it comes to replenishment, and replenishment within the context of being detached. And so that's where, when you're detached, your cells open, your digestive system opens, your immune system is powerful, your whole being becomes extremely powerful.
Makes sense.
Because you're not being externally referenced, you're now self-referential, loving being. And your cells know exactly what to do in that state. They know what to do. And the number one thing that they do is they go into healing, and they go into detox. They start to cleanse and purify themselves until the next time that externally referenced reality kicks in and you get stressed again. And then they go back into defense mode. For many people, and those of our audience here, bless your souls for being here, you might not have had that stress signal turned off for decades.
True.
Right. Why? Because of an externally referenced reality. You've not been given the gift that I was given, that I'm passing on to you now, which is the detachment meditation. That process is a gift of a lifetime. When you start practicing it, you will start to feel your nutrition absorbing, maybe for the first time in your life. You will feel your digestive system actually working, maybe first time in decades. You will experience, because of the former two, you will experience deeper sleep. Maybe not the first night, maybe not the second, maybe not the first week or the first month, because your body needs to go through replenishment. We renew ourselves. We renew our organs every 90 days. Our eyes are replaced every 4 to 5 days. Our intestinal lining every 5 to 6 days, 5 to 7 days. It's a surface area of 2 tennis courts, our intestinal lining. It's replaced like that.
Wow.
So we're being replaced, our cells are being replaced, we're replacing 200 billion cells a day, and those 200 billion cells a day are being reborn into the consciousness of an externally referenced reality until this point.
Wow.
In
That's
this point,
amazing.
you take it back. You take your power back, and therefore you also take your health back. Stop referencing yourself to an externally referenced source that says you need to wear a mask because I can't say it.
Understand.
So I want to
You understand what I'm saying? It's like,
I want to say something.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I know a lot of my stress is like, especially a lot of it is with the kids, but I like to be in control of everything, but it's based off of fear of the unknown, like what's going to happen. But that's what, anything in life, with worrying about if it's me, if it's about the kids when I'm not around, like anything like that. But that's where mine stems from. I forgot where I was going with it. It was going to be really good.
I'm really glad that you brought us back into that track. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
May I ask you a question? Do you feel like the stress that you experience? I mean, six children. I mean, God bless your soul. That's amazing. we need lots of children in this world. That's just amazing to hear. Is it because you want the most perfect outcome for your kids?
I wouldn't say. I mean, I wouldn't say perfect.
Or you like a?
We do. We don't expect them to be perfect, and we let them know that it's really not me trying to be perfect for them. It's just how do I prepare them for the world? You know what I mean? When I'm not there. Even if that means like sending them to school or whatever the scenario may be. But I think a lot of stress starts with fear, really.
It does. It starts with the unknown. You're a young mom. You've got heaps of responsibility. No day is the same. You can't predict any day. And that partially, as a parent, then you are releasing. You either release completely into the now, or you try to hold everything in your head about what you're going to do in the day, what you're going to do tomorrow, and what maybe next year. And then you're like, and then you've got 6 kids, and you're sort of like you're trying to think of everything and everyone all at the same time, and your cells are eavesdropping in on your thoughts.
Yeah, it's probably why I have a headache all the time. But I remember where I was going with it. As you're talking to me, wanting to be in control of like everything, the more you talk, the more it's like, if you just let all that go, you're in more of control of yourself and your emotions. That's where I was going with it.
Well done, Michaela. Well done.
Yeah,
yes, awesome perception and awesome conclusion. Yes.
We've got just about 3 minutes left, ladies and gentlemen.
We're almost there. Oh, wow. That was one of the best ways to conclude right there.
Well, we're not done yet.
Okay, we're not done.
I got some more things I want to say. No. Would you be so kind as to share about your website there, uexl.org, and when someone goes there, I believe you had a free gift or something. Is that correct?
Yes, if you go to uexl.org, pronounce
Mhm.
UXL, UXL in life,
UXL.
UXL in love, UXL in wondrous experience of this spectacular life
Mhm.
that we're in. uexl.org. As you get there, one of the very first things you're going to see on the page is the meditation gift. And that is truly a gift. It is this 18-minute audio meditation plus webinar, and we'll unpack it more there. The key is the practice. The key is the practice. Download that gift, use it, pass it on, make it part of the family. And comment on what Michaela was saying. It literally was the best conclusion for our hour here today. Really brought me back on track. Is like, yes, actually, it is the complete release and let go. You can. It's good to have a notebook so that you plan things, but then boom, unhook. And it is actually our responsibility to our generations that are coming up, how to be detached fully. What an example to lead. What an example to lead. To be truly detached, you become unbelievably powerful. Because no one can rob you of your power. No one can take it away from you. No one can offend you. No one can
That's
do
right.
anything to you because you are self.
Yeah. Nobody can break in and rob you, or rob it, or take it from you, a robber or anything like that. But you can give it away for free if you let someone else,
exactly.
corrode your strength, rust your connections in life, and I mean, just let it corrode them. But also, too, ladies and gentlemen, our free trial gift there for the 6-minute webinar. Go to 6minutewebinar.com/free trial. You can download the 6-minute webinar for yourself. Just this past week, I sat down with Michaela and filled out her 6-minute webinar. And I'd been telling her how great it was.
Way to go, Michaela.
And just share your honest gut feeling when you saw it. How did it grab you?
It was really fast. I mean, I have all the kids, so it was fast, and it does it for you. It was easier than anything that they taught me in business school. So they teach you basically an outline, but you can be given an outline and still not know how to do something. And that was me. So it really helped.
And when you got it in, started reading it, how did it make you feel?
Oh, it was impressive, honestly. Yeah. All the added words in there. It sounds really professional, very catchy.
And I had nothing to do with it. It's all Bill Heinrich and Don McGrath. Those two guys, they're the co-creator of the 6-minute webinar. Yes. Dandy Don McGrath created ScriptPal, the little form you fill out. And when you put your email address in there, and it's automatically sent to your email box within about 1 minute or less. You get 2 documents. One is the questions and the answers, and the other one is your 6-minute webinar that you can actually read while you record, and there's more help on that if you need help. So, but the 6-minute webinar, it's all about clarity. It's all about getting your message across to your ideal client, because like in the first sentence, I like to use Stephanie Dwayne's. I call her the coaching lady, and that's a long and boring story, but she was the one that actually told me and Don, hey, when you guys going to do some more of that 6-minute talk training? So I started using it, and my very first time I decided, well, I'm going to talk to someone about, what she was talking about is either stress or, I believe it was stress she was talking about. And she says, I call it my personal ATM machine because I started making sales. And this one lady came up out of the crowd and says, who is your speaking coach? But her first sentence says it all. I'm just going to use weight loss as an example. During this 6-minute webinar, I will share with you 3 ways that you can lose weight. Boom, right there. You've got your ideal clients, all of the other people who are not interested. Because good marketing, if you think about it, this first job is to get rid of all the people you can't help. You don't waste their time. They don't waste your time. And so go to 6minutewebinar.com/free trial, try it out. And you don't have to worry about Bill or Don or anyone else chasing you down, trying to sell you something else, because number one, we're too busy. Number two, when we do put on webinars, free webinars, and people go through the 6-minute webinar themselves, we show them other products we have. About 70% of the free attendees buy. So we have enough trouble keeping up with them. So we're not going to chase after you. Anyway, Lars is going to be with us again tomorrow. And I am so thrilled and so happy because those of you that's seen the show, be sure and let someone else know, because you and I know that Lars is going to drop some more great information
We're gonna have fun.
on us that's going to literally wake us up. That's why I had him. He was on the radio show on Friday, and I go like, hello, we need to have this guy on the TV show.
So much
Because
fun.
our TV show is all about one thing. It's about infotainment.
Yes.
And ladies and
Indeed.
gentlemen, our time is,
I'm glad that we all got entertained today.
oh yeah, I
Thank
tell you.
Very, very
Yeah.
beautiful, wonderful.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Michaela and Lars and myself, thank you so much for tuning in. We're out of time, but we'll be back same place, same time, same station tomorrow. We'll see you. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
See you. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye.